All right, so today we're going to talk about ancient Stone Age man. So in history, obviously there was a time that we didn't have all the technology that we have today. We didn't have civilization, roads, cars, anything. We had nothing. The people were just kind of developed, and they were just out there, trying to survive. So we're going to talk about how we go from that to starting to kind of like be civilized, settle down, farm, hunt, those kind of things. So first thing we need to talk about is the people that study this. All right, so a lot of people have studied this over time, trying to figure out basically the question of where did we come from? Where were the first humans? Where did they hang out? Like, what did they do? All right, and so the people that study that are called anthropologists. All right, and that is the study of how human beings behave, how they act together, where they came from, and what makes one group of people different from another. Now, one of those types of anthropologists that really looks at, how these original societies, developed, and how these original humans, like where were their original bones, are called archaeologists. So they study human life, kind of like the things that we leave behind, our pottery, our tools, our weapons, any kind of history that they may have written down. Okay, so that's what archaeologists do. Most famous archaeologist of all, Indiana Jones. You should know. He's not real, but he's one of the best. So one of the things that we also need to learn is what prehistory is. When I say the word prehistoric, most kids think of, that's when the dinosaurs lived. I love dinosaurs. I love the Brontosaurus, the T-Rex. Love them. I said, well, so what's prehistory? I say it's dinosaurs. Favorite. I play with dinosaurs, my dinosaur toys. But that is not what we're talking about. In terms of history class, we are not talking about dinosaurs. We're talking about history. So prehistoric times were before written records. So everything mankind did in their entire existence before their written records is called prehistoric. Now, we only learned to write about 5,500 years ago. So every person who lived before that lived in prehistoric times, which means almost all of human history is prehistoric. We've only been have written history, any kind of written language, for the last 5,500 years. That's it. So only 5,000 years of written language. That's it. So we only know up to there. That's basically all we have. So we have to look at fossils. We have to look at remains. We have to look at ancient things that we find to try to guess what these people's lives were like, because we don't actually have any written records. So obviously we have fossils. And we do have a lot of fossilized human remains that go back, millions of years. Now, one of the things that archaeologists do is something called called different types of dating. They try to date things. One way to do that is through layers of soil. All right. So if you find something deeper, it's going to be older, right? So anything deeper in the ground, the farther down it is older. And the reason why, right, to give you guys an idea of how that actually works. So if I've got, let's say, this building, right? This building, mankind dies off, and aliens find our building, let's say 1 million years from now. The building is going to be under the ground at that point. Reason why? All right, we got plant life out there, right? Plant life drops, leaves and grass and stuff over time. It dies off when new stuff grows up. Well, all that dead leaf and dead grass eventually decomposes, turns into dirt, and that gets higher and higher and higher every year as more and more stuff decomposes on top of itself. So in 1 million years, this could be 20 or 30 feet underground of dirt because of decomposing, things like leaves and grass. And so each time, each layer of dirt that we go through, we know that is older dirt. could be you dig down 20 or 30 feet, that you might be looking at dirt from 1 million years ago. So we know that the deeper it is, what is the older it is. So we know that. So if we dig down deeper, it's old. Another thing we talk about is radiocarbon dating. All right, and this can determine the age of an object about 50,000 years old. Because part of this is something called an isotope decays over time. All right? And they can use that to determine if something is, if there's more isotopes or less isotopes, which is, we're not going to get into what that is, but they can date it by saying, okay, this has decayed for half of its lifespan, meaning that it's 25,000 years old. We can extract the DNA, and we can study geology, which is scientists who study the materials of Earth itself, such as soil and rocks. They help the archaeologists.